As we get started, I want to talk about some of the top challenges that are facing digital marketers. I wanted to share some recent research that we commissioned with WBR Insights, who polled 150 digital marketers in retail, travel, CPG, consumer finance, and food. And we were really trying to understand what are the greatest challenges for digital marketers today as they are competing in the marketplace, and more specifically, which channels and promotions have been most effective in addition to what hasn't worked. And I want to use this as a backdrop as we can start to look at some of the strategies that retail leaders are using in driving engagement with their campaigns and promotions. Okay, so the first thing that we found, and that we asked, is, are marketers under more pressure this year than last? And overwhelmingly, marketers responded with indicating that 8 in 10, nearly 8 in 10, are under more pressure this year than last. And more shocking still was that it was significantly higher in the travel industry. Retail indexed slightly higher, and travel indexed the highest, where virtually everyone in the survey indicated that they were feeling the pressure more this year than last. Interestingly enough, that pressure is felt most specifically with program owners and directors, not the C-suite. The C-suite only reported that 33% were feeling more pressure this year than last. So as we started to take this into consideration, we wanted to understand a bit more, like, what is the real emotion behind this extra pressure that marketers are feeling? We asked a number of different colorful examples that marketers could potentially relate with. And I'm not going to go through all of the different options that we presented, but I think this graphic says it all, really, that marketers are feeling, the majority of marketers are feeling like they are in the movie Groundhog Day. They are running in place on a never-ending hamster wheel, trying to get consumers' attention through the channels that they are currently marketing in. In other words, marketers know generally what has performed well in the past, but it's getting harder and harder to get traction. So we wanted to understand why. What were the causes of this pressure? What is making it more difficult to get traction? And here we can see, as we polled marketers across these industries, that the number one concern was differentiation in the noisy marketplace. This rose to the top. As more promotions are being flooded in the market, as more dollars are being spent, breaking through and getting customers' attention is harder than ever. What was interesting, though, was that privacy rose up to the top of the leaderboard here as a close number two, not increasing costs or decreasing conversion, which was number 5. So these two things actually have a very interesting relationship, as we know that a key piece in differentiation and breaking through to customers is having a highly personalized offer that really speaks to them. Yet on the other hand, there are new regulations and data protection laws that are coming into place that are rising to the top for marketers as they're trying to consider how they make all these things work. And of course, last year we had GDPR. This year we've got the CCPA, which is coming up, the California Consumer Protection Act, which is coming up in the beginning of next year. So marketers are trying to figure out how they balance these two competing trends. So looking at one step further, we then asked, what are the types of marketing tactics that brands were investing in? And as we peered into this data, we started to see some of the trends that are leading to the noisy marketplace. One, mass discounting tactics, right? This was the most prevalent tactic that marketers were using in trying to engage their customers. And we know that, providing discounts, providing promotions definitely works. But the challenge here is when it goes out to everybody, you lack a set of precision, and it doesn't apply to everybody because everybody might not be in that same frame of mind at that point in time. What we found was that 66% of marketers indicated that this was their primary approach to promotions. And in the travel industry, again, it was highest among all of the 5 that we polled. It was 93% of marketers indicated that this was their primary approach to providing promotions in the marketplace. This, in addition to increasing promotions, increasing the frequency of promotions, created a level of saturation. And we also found that, in general, marketers across the board were increasing spending across all of their channels. In fact, the only channel that didn't indicate an increase in spend was print. But when you look at social, paid search, even inbound channels like organic search, all of those channels are going up, leading to increased competition and a challenge to break through. And we know marketers also indicated that they recognize that there's also a downside of promotions. When we asked them what their concerns were, 2 and 3 said they have a concern that this is potentially having a negative impact on the business. And the issues are evenly distributed across a number of different reasons. One is margin erosion. The other is customer conditioning. A third is just devaluing the brand. And the root of this is that promotions can't be targeted. They go to everyone. With the internet, the power of the internet, and the ubiquity of the internet, it makes it a challenge to send a promotion to a targeted group and only that group. So this is the backdrop, right? This is some thinking that I wanted to add to the conversation this morning or this afternoon, as we start to think about these different techniques that retail giants are using to acquire customers with targeted promotions. And here, I'm going to call on Jeff to get his perspective on how Globus is putting some of these practices to use. So the first technique that we're going to talk about is making your offer exclusive, making it specific to an individual segment. And I like to start out with definitions as you start to look at what a thing actually is. And so we're going to do that here. A gated offer, a gated exclusive offer, if you haven't heard of this before, is a promotion that is designed to target specific members of a particular group and verify their eligibility as a member in that group based upon their occupation, which could be a teacher or somebody in the military, or potentially they're employed somewhere, a life stage, like students or seniors, or an affiliation type, like if you are a member of a group like AARP. Now, what makes an exclusive offer truly exclusive is the verification, verifying eligibility of your target segment. In this case, we're looking at a landing page from Rockies, which is a fashion shoe brand that is extremely innovative in their approach in going to market. And they have a program for teachers, as you can see here, and they are asking teachers to verify their eligibility on their promotion landing page. Now, verifying eligibility does 2 very important things. The first is that it makes sure that your promotion is only going to your intended audience, protecting you from discount abuse. And the second is that it demonstrates that the offer is truly exclusive. We found that brands that didn't verify exclusivity received negative ratings from consumers downstream, either by a negative brand sentiment in the future, or indicating that they wouldn't shop with that brand in the future because they felt that there wasn't any integrity in the deal. Now, let's take a look at the verification form. Once a teacher clicks through, they're presented with an easy to fill out verification form that asks them for a few easy to provide pieces of information that we check in milliseconds to verify eligibility. And this applies to any segment, right? So teachers, military, student, employment, seniors, you name it. So these types of data, as you can see here, as it applies to teachers, are things like first and last name, university, school email, and that's it, right? Just with just a few pieces of privacy-friendly data, a customer can opt in, verify their eligibility, and see the reward on the other end. And the reason why this works, why brands are seeing great performance, typically these promotions perform 3 times higher than a typical promotion. We'll go into some of the ROI stats in a couple slides. But more to the point here, the reason why these things work is that, one, they're personal. They recognize something that a person strongly identifies with, right? If I've served in the military, that is a strongly identifying characteristic about me and what I value. If I am a teacher that has served in the community, that is a very strong attribute that I identify with. Even a student or a senior, these are important pieces. And what we see is that consumers, when they feel recognized, they use words like feeling honored, feeling special, feeling recognized. And those are the types of attributes that actually create a new type of engagement, because somebody feels seen and heard. That creates a downstream benefit for you as a brand. The second thing is that it's shared. Now, because you're marketing to somebody within a network or a group, they have other peers within that network. And if the offer is exclusive to that group, there's a high incentive for someone in that group to share it with everybody else that they know. And we see that in our survey data. When we ask people in the military or teachers in an inordinate amount share that offer with other people within their network. Typically, it's 80% or higher. And then the third piece is exclusivity. Because it's limited to a specific group and for a specific time, that drives action. Typically, we see conversion rates, as I mentioned earlier, about 3 times a typical promotion. So, Jeff, I wanted to pause here for a minute, and I was wondering if you could provide a little color to the audience around your thinking in creating an exclusive offer. What were the things that motivated you and motivated Globus to create an exclusive offer for the first time?
All right, thanks, Bill. Yeah, just a couple things to piggyback on what Bill was saying. For Globus, it was really important. We were looking for a way to kind of extend our mass promotion. So, as a tour operator, we have a mass offer that's currently in the marketplace, but wanted to create a little bonus action. So for us, it was an opportunity to take what was out there and create this segment, if you will, to go out to that audience and try to figure out if we could kind of create, a small window to have them react to it. Also, for us, when we were looking at a way to kind of have an exclusive offer, we all the time look at our product offering. And so for us, we have a lot of tours and cruises and packages that also connect with different military historical sites. And we know typically our 60-plus audience, we know we have a lot of people retired military in our demographic, in our database. So this was a great way for us to build an exclusive offer, knowing that we had the SheerID verification process in place to really make sure that the people who were taking advantage of this offer were valid to take advantage of it. So those were kind of some other nuggets as to why, it really made sense for us to look for a way to extend our mass offer with an exclusive offer.
Cool, thanks, Jeff. And did you mentioned the military as one segment. Were there other segments that you looked at, and why? What was your thinking there?
Yeah, the other segment that we've actually done some campaigns with SheerID on were our teacher audience. Our Cosmos brand is an affordable tour operator who provides a way for people to explore the world in a very affordable way. And we know our current audience makeup is we thought was teachers. So what it did for us was it also validated our audience. When we had people going through the SheerID verification process, it also provided us a way to identify those people in our database who are teachers. So it was kind of like a proof of concept, but it also proved out to be true. And we were able to kind of, again, offer something up to an audience and give them kind of recognition and also update our database at the same time. So a lot of win-win opportunities that came from, our partnership with SheerID to date.
Cool. Okay, great. Thanks for that extra context, Jeff. So now we're going to move on to our next best practice, where I wanted to talk about promotion and where to promote the offer. And I guess the title slide kind of gives it away, but there's a lot more detail to this, and so I wanted to share that here. I wanted to use an example here with Lowe's, and Lowe's has a military program, and what we see is that the most successful promotions typically are multi-pronged across multiple channels, and most importantly, and this is the critical point, they use the campaign to capture valuable customer data. As Jeff was talking about, he had a hypothesis that a lot of their audience was, there were a lot of teachers in his audience, and this provided an opportunity to help kind of reify that understanding. And Lowe's had a similar situation, right? Lowe's was founded actually by a number of members in the military, and they have got a strong tradition in supporting the military. So there was a natural extension for them to support this audience, but they really wanted to take it to the next level. And so what they did was they had a specific military promotion that they tied to their loyalty program. And you can see a screenshot here of the My Lowe's card. And what's interesting about this is once connected to the My Lowe's card, it makes it very easy for someone to purchase on any channel. So once the customers verified their eligibility, and here you can see the form here that's customized for Lowe's experience, it's attached to the loyalty card so that wherever they make a purchase, the promotion is applied. And once that purchase is made, that data that's captured, that the person is a member of the military, could actually be an extra data element like active duty military or veteran. That's all data that can be applied here, that's collected through the form. That then gets added to the database so that Lowe's can then market to them in the future and continue their brand relationship. And they use different targeted promotions on their website. They have a constant email cadence that they use. In their case, they've got a purchase cycle where they're trying to re-engage the customer every month and drive them in store. And so they will provide some value to members of the military to encourage engagement and drive an in-store trip, which ultimately turns into a higher ring value when they come into the store. So in this case, similarly, you have a purchase cycle that you have with your customer base, and tapping into what that cycle is. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a minute in terms of how you can do that with some seasonal campaigns. There's a lot of power there in creating re-engagement campaigns. They also marketed this more broadly through their blog so that they could attach the brand commitment that they had to the military, and they promoted it through broadcast channels like radio to get the word out, because there's essentially a halo effect, particularly when you're dealing with the military and even teachers. There's just a general goodwill message that comes along with that you have an opportunity to broadcast and show your support for these communities. Now, what Lowe's saw was tremendous in terms of their results. They had millions of new customers sign up, right? So you can imagine the impact there from a revenue perspective. But I think what's more important here, what really shows the value of these types of offers, is that our champion there, Ryan Fagan, indicated that they see these types of programs outperform their next best program by 2 to 3 times. And this, I think, really speaks to the power of exclusivity and what that really means and how that's interpreted by the consumer on the other end that encourages them to act. So Jeff, what I wanted to ask you here was, we wrote with Lowe's, their key point here was trying to create a relationship with the military and capture that data. Did you have a similar dynamic in your programs? What type of data did you capture, and how did you collect it?
Yeah, totally. We looked at it as like a flash sale. So instead of kind of adding it to our loyalty program, and it might still be something that we consider down the road, but for us right now, we have exclusive offers in the marketplace, but we didn't have an exclusive offer at the customer level. We have exclusive offers sort of at different channels, but not at the actual customer. And so for us, we were able to build a program, have it a short window, like a 2-week window, add a bonus to a current offer for this audience with the military. And with the SheerID, system, we were able to use our current backend infrastructure. We had an ask and receive code that was unique that the military, person was able to receive once they went through the process. And so for us, we were able to, capture the customer and then use that as a remarketing tool for future campaigns. And as we've kind of learned, having that exclusive offer at the customer level really provides a way for us to, have a market message out there through all the various channels. Like you said, we use every various channel to market this offer, and the halo effect or the goodwill that we got from friends and family sharing this offer with other people, we incrementally saw during that 2-week period, I would say probably a 2x, increase in bookings that we would not have probably have seen without that happening during that short flash sale.
Great, that's great context. Thanks, Jeff. You mentioned that halo effect, and I think there is a real opportunity for brands to really tap into that. One brand that I wanted to call to mind here is T-Mobile. And T-Mobile has made a really big commitment. Again, this is with the military community, where they went actually beyond just the offer itself. They decided that they were going to make a very strong commitment to the military, and they had a great offer that they put together for their wireless plan. But they also combined that with a hiring plan where they made a public commitment to hire 10,000 veterans. This also made a public commitment to supporting numerous grants for veteran causes, and they broadcast that through a nationwide campaign. And what's interesting about that is, I really love these types of stories because it's good for business, good for the community. And in this case, the president of T-Mobile, Mike Sievert, he mentioned on a recent investor call that their segment performance was one of the key reasons for their strong quarterly results. And I think that really speaks to the opportunity that exists here when you create these types of programs that have both a community component and also a revenue component. And I think in every brand position, there is an opportunity for a leading brand to take a leadership stance here. And so I wanted to bring that to mind here for people that are on the phone as they're considering these types of programs. So the next best practice is looking at buying events. When are the great time? When is the best time to put these offers in play? And there's a seasonal calendar that you can use that I wanted to walk through really quickly here to spark some ideas. Many segments have specific times through the year that give us the time to recognize that specific individual or role in our community. And these can provide great buying opportunities for travelers. For example, targeting the military at Veterans Day, running a Veterans Day promotion at the end of the year can be a great time for military families to plan their summer vacation plans for next year. Or, Teacher Appreciation Week or Military Appreciation Week in the May timeframe, which is right now. So think about this for next year. Can be a great time to try and schedule last-minute summer trips or unused inventory. Or the summer months could be a good time to run a back to home student promotion for the holidays, as students are thinking about going to school and they're thinking about their year ahead, and parents are thinking about that, and they're trying to figure out what are the times when the kids are going to be back in school. So each of these has an opportunity where you can create a unique buying event, speak to that specific audience, and drive activity. So Jeff, you were talking about your campaigns that you ran. What can you remind us? What were the times of year that you found worked particularly well?
Yeah, this definitely led into our strategic opportunity to figure out when we should do these exclusive gated offers. Because of the Veterans Day opportunity right before the holidays, I know for all travel partners out there, like we need, that last minute push before the end of the year to see if there's a way to encourage people to travel in the following year. So for us, the Veterans Day opportunity was a huge win because it was a reason to go out to market right before the Thanksgiving holiday, and have a window of time to kind of push some incremental business. And we saw results from that. We've done a campaign, not on your calendar, but I think it's a good idea, is around the spring break time period. We know teachers were off. This was a time when they were maybe on a vacation or thinking about doing a vacation with their kids during the spring break opportunity, or they just took time off. And so we used spring break as an opportunity to go out with another sale, an exclusive offer, and that's when we saw, again, a good opportunity for us to push a message to the audience when they had time off to book their summer trip. And so those two time periods have worked really well for us to, again, find opportunities to get a message out into the marketplace.
Great, thanks. We'll have to add that one to our calendar. That's a good one. Thanks. Okay, so now let's take a look at what type of offer to provide. And there's really two primary camps, right? Is there a one-time offer that you use to acquire a customer for one-time use, or is there an everyday discount that can be applied? And it really depends on what your strategy is, right? So, for example, here we've got Target on the left, and they ran a teacher back to school campaign last year. It was the first time they ran such a promotion, so there was really a lot of fanfare for this. What was interesting about this promotion for them is that because they typically hadn't done this type of promotion in the past, it really got a strong response from the get-go. And they had, because they're Target, they had a lot of the metro dailies cover them because of the reach that Target has. One-time promotions are great opportunities to drive action. So because it's only available once or maybe twice throughout the year, you typically see a higher than average spike in traffic and conversion rate, which you can then use to re-engage them downstream. Then there are evergreen promotions, right, which are great for both acquisition and retention. It really speaks to a deeper commitment that you're making to the segment, where you're trying to create a brand impression with that consumer that they know that you're always in their corner. Right? So in this case, J. Crew, they have an everyday discount off for 15% off for students and teachers. This can be a straight discount, or it can be stackable for specific times to drive engagement. One example that I wanted to call to mind here is Urban Outfitters. And they had a one-time offer that they did, this was last year, where they had a seasonal promotion for students at a non-traditional time. It was actually after the holidays. So it wasn't during Black Friday, it wasn't during the lead up to Black Friday, it was after the holidays. And they provided students, which is their core demographic, right? If you think about Urban Outfitters, it's all about, Gen Z and millennials. And they just offered a 10% off discount. So it wasn't a big discount, but it got a lot of attention because they hadn't done this in the past. And it was available on everything in the store. It was stackable. And the goal for them was obviously to remove excess inventory and start to create new relationships with customers that maybe they hadn't acquired at that point in time. They had 20,000 new to file purchasing customers through a 5-day promotion. And you can see the return on investment here on the numbers, and they drove a considerable amount of revenue in those 5 days. So I think, I wanted to bring this to mind just to show how these focused promotional times can have a big impact for these types of segments. So now we're on to the next best practice. This is on word of mouth and getting the message out. And because exclusive offers are really all about tapping into a network, they're particularly well tuned for social. Because people within that group know each other, they're regularly shared. And so you want to make it easy for them to share it with their peers. Here we just talked about the target promotion. We can see how they promoted it here for, in their social channels. And here we can see, Vineyard Vines promoting their military discount in their social channels. And so obviously you want to promote this within your channels, and you want to make sure that you're using the common hashtags for each audience, like military life, hashtag military life for the military, or hashtag vets, or on the teacher side, hashtag teacher, or hashtag EdChat for teachers. We have a best practice guide for each audience that lists these common hashtags. So if you're interested, please reach out and we can give you that information there. And what I wanted to say here is that we know, as I mentioned, that from polling consumers, that they share these offers in a high volume. When we ask them in separate studies, how do they interact with these offers, 91% of them said that they would share a gated offer reward with friends or family. 84% of teachers shared an offer with other teachers. And ironically, and I personally like these things when there's a symmetry in numbers from two different audiences. It helps kind of reify the dynamic here. 84% of the military had a similar response where they share a gated offer with the military. And the importance of this is that it helps drive your customer acquisition costs down, because you don't have to go out and pay to find those users on a paid channel. They're sharing that with their network, which drives acquisition costs down, which leads to things like the 18-to-1 ROI statistic that we saw from Urban Outfitters just a minute ago. Okay, last point here. We're going to talk about messaging. And the key thing here is that although we're talking about a discount or a promotion, it's not just about the discount that really gets people to act, right? Because we're talking particularly about audiences that have contributed something to society, as in the case of the military or teachers, or maybe they've got a unique start in life right now with students, you want to recognize that identity as the primary focus of your message, right? So we see successful campaigns do two things well. One, they speak directly to their core segment and use messaging that recognizes their identity, like Sprint's campaign here that uses a call to arms message of classes in session. And they use complementary imagery showing teachers in action with their class. And then the second thing is they do obviously highlight the discount, and they talk about when the offer is active. And Lowe's here does a great job making it very clear how they're giving back. That's the primary message at the top here. And they are doing that with a 10% everyday discount. So, Jeff, I wanted to turn it over to you and allow you to talk through some of the creative that you used in your campaigns.
Great, thanks. And one additional note that I wanted to make just about for us, for Globus and Cosmos here, was that when we did this, we had never done anything like this. And so for us, having a news story around the idea that, Globus and Cosmos and Avalon Monograms was going to offer a military discount or a teacher discount, we actually saw, a lot of effect from just the newsworthiness. And so if you've never done, a campaign like this, I think, for the first time, you obviously are going to get some good PR value, not only from this kind of the audience abroad, but from our current, our current customers, just to be able to do that. And so that's kind of our strategy has been not to do it, all the time, but to kind of use it as a news opportunity here and there. And so you'll see here, this is an example of our Cosmos campaign. We obviously had a lot of different things in market. We actually went out to, all of our different channels to promote this during that time period. So again, back to Bill, giving, recognizing the teacher with this idea that teachers deserve extra credit too. Got a huge response rate from email and just traffic to the site, but also people who went through the verification process and then used that special code. And then the next slide, Bill, is just an example of what we did with the Veterans Day, honoring those, who served with this, idea of an additional $100 off our current offer in the marketplace. And again, that short time window and having different messages in the marketplace to kind of connect with those people during that time period. So these were just some examples of the creative that we used during those two campaigns.
Cool, great, thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
So that brings us to our summary here. And what I wanted to leave you with before we get into questions is a few final thoughts. Right. The first is that is using exclusivity to drive action. It's a powerful motivator. It makes people feel honored, which in turn encourages them to share with their network and tribe, which drives down customer acquisition costs. So that's a key piece. The second is promoting your offer through your primary demand channels and letting people self-select and opt in. Now, we didn't talk too much about privacy, and we talked about that up front as that being a concern that marketers are trying to deal with. The opt-in nature of these offers is privacy friendly, right? So that allows you to operate within the bounds of CCPA and GDPR while providing a personalized offer that the consumer then self-selects, raises their hand, says, yep, I'm a student, I would like to get that offer. Let me provide some information to prove my eligibility and to get the reward on the other end. So there's a clear value exchange in these offers that you can tap into. The third is creating new buying events by tapping into these seasonal holidays for specific segments like Veterans or Back to School Day. I think, there are always these key times of year that we would love to have more of, regardless of what industry you're in. Now, you can tap into these other seasonal campaigns if you're not doing so already and reach these new segments, create a new brand relationship, and that you can build over time. Don't forget word of mouth. So that's the social channel is critical, right? Identifying which channels you're going to go after and which segments you're going to go after are key that allow you to share that information to their network. And finally, message more than the discount in your creative. Speak to the person on the other end and speak to their identity. That's an important piece. Once you have that in place, then the discount will follow, and you'll see really good results. So that's the conclusion of our presentation. Thanks again for your time. We'll now turn it over to Q&A.
Bill and Jeff, thank you guys so much for these valuable insights. We have a lot of questions coming in. I want to start with one coming here from Samir. Does this strategy work for developing countries? Yes, it does work for developing countries. Particularly, what we see is that there are a lot of brands now that are offering these types of offers for students in particular, and are having they've got a global offer to students in multiple markets in multiple countries, and they're seeing great results, great conversion rates. The dynamic is similar, right? There's a human component to it, which is that you're speaking to that person's identity and what they closely identify with, and that is the thing that encourages people to engage and gets a reaction. So it's applicable. I think it's a universal technique. Jeff, did you have anything to add to that?
I would agree with you. We haven't tried it on the global front, but I could see how it would totally work. We have offices around the globe, but we've shared it with our other marketing offices as an opportunity. So we haven't really done that, but I could see how it would work for sure.
Very nice. Well, we have another great question here. So the lodging industry has created exclusive offers for a while now. So if you think of AAA, the government AARP rates, how do you see this changing in the future with digital and electronic technology not even requiring guests to stop by the front desk where the verification used to occur?
Yeah, so I think what the opportunity here is that you make it easier for those
consumers, those travelers, to provide that step online. A lot of people are doing all of their purchasing, their travel plans online now. We all know that. And so by including this as part of the online experience, it makes it that much easier then for the traveler to apply that discount and see that you're speaking to them there, and then use that data in future campaigns. So the benefit of this technique is that it makes that even more seamless, and you can create it within your brand experience. And I think ultimately we all know that the way that you differentiate in many cases today in the digital age is by providing a great digital customer experience, and this enables you to do so.
Very nice. Well, I have the next one queued up here that's directly for Jeff. Actually, two comments. One question came in, which is really more of a comment, which says, "I love Globus," which is just some great feedback for you there, Jeff. But what sorts of operational challenges did Globus face with creating a gated promotion and then streamlining it across multiple challenges?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was definitely a new opportunity at the customer level. Like I said, from a channel perspective, we offer different promotional exclusive offers. So having something at the customer level that actually worked across all channels when it came to our travel agent channel, this actually fit in really nicely because to be honest, the SheerID platform is just super simple and easy. You literally can have various different options on how you want to create your promotional offer. We uploaded a list of unique ask and receive codes that the SheerID system allowed us to then, basically provide after someone went through the verification process. So the customer would go through the process. The other thing that's really nice about the SheerID process, if they can't find the customer online, for example, the military form, if they can't find that, there is a way for the customer to actually upload some documents to verify that they were, say, a military veteran. And so it's really a hands-off experience from our point of view that we were able to use the platform, and then the customer gets the ask and receive code, and then through our back-end channels, either through the travel agent channel or contacting us directly, the customer could provide that unique code, and then through our operational system, we were able to, take advantage of giving that discount to the customer. So once we had the landing page up on our site, it basically used it just like any other campaign where we drove all traffic from all channels, all media channels to that landing page, and it was kind of a hands-off experience.
Very nice. Well, we really do have a lot of questions coming in, so I just want to let everyone know that we're going to try to get to all of them here, but if not, Bill and Jeff will try to get the contact information for everyone to follow up separately as well. So our next question is coming in. So teachers are facing increasing financial challenges across the U.S., cost of living increasing faster than their wages. Are there any concerns from a marketing perspective of how this will impact the purchasing power of this segment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what we found there is that because teachers are under such pressure, both personally and then also in their classroom, they really appreciate when brands recognize the pressure that they're under, and it encourages them to shop or travel with those brands more urgently. And we've done a survey with teachers over the last 5 years trying to understand their attitudes around teacher-specific promotions, and I shared one stat which showed that 84% of them share it within their network. There's also a metric, I'm going to miss the precision of the metric here, but it's something like 87% of them shop exclusive or prefer a brand that offers a teacher discount over one that doesn't. And so there's a high degree of motivation from that segment, from that community in particular, because of the financial pressure that they're under.
Very nice. So here's one of my favorite questions here. So for companies looking to do this for the first time and trying it out as more of an experiment, how do we convince our finance department to let us run this experiment using the marketing budget?
Jeff, do you want to take that?
Well, I mean, from our point of view, like I'll take it because I mean, from our point of view, like it's such a tough marketplace. I mean, here's my point of view on maybe getting the money to run this campaign. Like it's a very competitive marketplace, and everyone's trying to find unique ways to reach the message. And from our point of view, conversion rates keep going down. So like, because it is, everyone's using performance-based marketing out there and people are getting really good at it. I mean, to me, we did it was here with just the idea that we were able to provide a new way to find the segment and also verify that these people really were who they were going to say they are and say, take advantage of a discount. So to me, it was a really easy way to sell that into the Globus family of brands marketing plan was just those high points is that, unique. Everyone's getting really good at performance-based marketing. You need a way to prove out that these people are who they say they are and can verify who they are. And incrementally, we saw the return on our investment from just doing it. So anecdotally, I can tell you that it worked and that we were able to prove it out through a test like what you're saying.
Yeah, and I would just say also just from an operational perspective, or maybe from a from a budget perspective, you can start small. You can start with running a campaign for a couple of thousand travelers and see what kind of results you get, test it, and then build from there. Typically what we see is that's what brands will do is they'll start with an initial campaign, a one-time promotion for a specific season, and see what type of performance they get, and then decide, if you want to amplify that over time.
Great. So we have another great question here. So how do brands demonstrate to the teacher segment, or to any segment for that matter, that you are dedicated to them? As luxury and wealthier segments are increasingly targeted by many brands, particularly in travel, how do you showcase to the teachers or the military that you're not just trying to sell them, but that you really care about them?
Yeah. Well, I have an initial thought, and Jeff, maybe you've got some things to add on here too. Is just, I think, ultimately teachers obviously know that you're trying to sell something to them. I mean, that's kind of the relationship that exists between in the market between providers and consumers. And I think it's less about, because that relationship is known and you're doing something different than potentially your competitors. The difference is what allows you to have a new offering and a new message into the market that they pay attention to. And as I mentioned earlier in the survey that we do year after year, teachers respond well to these types of promotions, and that's been consistent as these promotions have been in play. The engagement rate and the approval rate that we've seen from teachers has been in the 80% plus range in terms of their preference of brands that offer teacher discounts over those that don't.
And I guess I would just add on that for us, it was a really, really awesome way to connect our product to the customer. So like I said earlier, like we go to Normandy beaches with Avalon or Pearl Harbor. So our vacations, obviously people are going on trips because of historical, military, reasons and places of interest, or, so for us, the connection actually, ties in not only about the customer, but the experience that we're selling. And then with Cosmos, the whole idea around Cosmos is trying to make travel attainable. And so, our Cosmos tours actually lend itself to people who, teachers who are looking to try to find an opportunity to go on a vacation and learn and bring back that information back to their students. And so for us, it was a nice way to kind of connect the product to the offering and the exclusive, gated, offer for that group of people.
Very nice. Well, let's get to a final question, and then we'll leave everyone with some contact information and some next steps over there. So what types of promotions work best with exclusive offers? Free offers, percentage discount, free night stay, anything that you could use to sort of get us started here.
Yeah. Well, we see it really depends on what your strategy is. I mean, ultimately, what we've found is that it doesn't have to be a significant amount to get somebody to pay attention. And traditionally, what we've seen in the retail space is that a 10 to 20% discount can have a meaningful impact. Jeff, I know you've obviously have a promotion strategy in place. What was some of the thinking that you used on?
We had a stackable kind of approach. So like I said, we have a market. We have lots of offers in the marketplace for all of our different vacations we sell. And for us, it was a way to not have like an exclusive offer that we had to like disrupt the channel, marketing opportunities, but to take the stackable approach to say, we added $100 off a currently, a 10% offer that we had in the marketplace. And so for us, that was, enough for us to see a good result, was just to give that extra amount. And for people who didn't, say weren't military or weren't a teacher, it wasn't like they were upset that they didn't get that offer. So for us, it was a nice way to take a current offer and then add that extended, bonus for someone who, was of military or whatever, without kind of disrupting the other customers.
Great. Well, Bill, Jeff, thank you guys so much. Just for everyone out there, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, you can go to our website, SheerID.com. We will send out an email afterwards. If you have any questions, you can also email me at bill.schneider, SCHNEIDER, @SheerID.com. I think those are primary ways for us.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions about how the Globus family of brands kind of implemented this strategy or any other thoughts, probably best for me is just email. And so anyone can email me at jrussell, that's JRUSSELL, @globusfamily.com.
Great. Bill and Jeff, thank you guys so much. Quick note for the attendees out there, we will be sending a recap video of this session. It's been recorded. The folks at SheerID are also going to be sending out the campaign calendar, social media hashtag, and make the presentation available as well. So please follow up with these guys. Lots of insights, lots of great ideas to sort of refocus your strategy around these customer segments. And I hope everyone enjoyed the webinar. Bill and Jeff, thank you guys so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Cheers and have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.